Hi, everybody. It's Mrs. Kennedy, and I am coming to you with another Library Lady Read Aloud. This is called Mrs. Smith's Incredible Storybook, and it's by Michael Garland. Pretty cool cover. That down just a little bit. Maybe you won't get the glare. It was the first day of school, and Zach was waiting for his teacher to arrive. Boring, boring, he thought. Why would this year be any different than the last one? Then the door swung open. Good morning, class. My name is Miss Smith, and I'm your new teacher. Miss Smith seemed very different from Zach's other teachers, but the day went along like every school day Zach could remember until Miss Smith said, "It's story time." When she sat at her desk and started to read from the book she had brought with her, Zach couldn't believe his eyes. The storybook characters came to life, and the classroom was swept up in a swashbuckling pirate tale. They're jumping right out of the book. Zach and the rest of his class were right in the middle of the story. He could feel the breeze in his hair and hear the waves pounding on the side of the ship. From then on, Zach couldn't wait to go to school. Every day there was a new story to look forward to. When Miss Smith finished reading, all the characters and adventure would whoosh back into her book. So what story is this? Little Red Riding Hood, a big bad wolf. On Friday, Principal Rittenrotten stood in front of the class instead of Miss Smith. Miss Smith is stuck in traffic, so she's asked me to read to you until she arrives, he announced. Zach wondered what would happen next. Principal Rittenrotten started to read. Zach grinned when a princess leaped out of the book, followed closely by a fire-breathing dragon and a brave knight on a horse. Ooh, he looks pretty shocked. Principal Rittenrotten was so surprised that all he could do was scream and throw up a book in fright. "I'm going for help!" he cried over his shoulder as he ran out the door. There he goes. Before Zach could think of anything to do, Sue Ann pounced on the storybook, but she didn't finish the dragon story. She started reading another one instead. The princess, the dragon, and the knight did not return to the book, but the three bears and Goldilocks climbed out. Oh my goodness, it's getting crowded in there. Freddie, the class clown, jumped out of his seat and tried to yank the book away. When Sue Ann let it go, he tumbled backwards and the book flew across the room, and the whole class laughed. Billy caught the book and started reading from a news story. Zach shook his head in amazement when the Mad Hatter, the Cheshire Cat, and Alice popped out to join the others. As the book passed from kid to kid, one character after another flew out of the pages. The classroom was getting very crowded. "This is trouble," Zach said to himself. The chaos was beginning to spill out into the halls. "Why don't you finish the stories?" Zach pleaded, but nobody was listening. Let's see who we have in here. Oh, we have, looks like the Tin Man from the Wizard of Oz, a pirate and a princess, and a scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz, and that's probably the Cowardly Lion. The Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. 3 pigs. 3 bears. Humpty Dumpty. Oh, it even looks like the Legend of Sleepy Hollow back here. Very cool. Oh, I see Robin Hood as well. Miss Smith brought her car to a screeching stop in front of the school. "Uh-oh, there seems to be a little problem," she said to herself, and she raced inside. I'd say there's a little problem. Look at all the characters getting out. There's the Headless Horseman, Little Bo Peep and her sheep, a knight, a dragon. Oh, that looks like Little John and Robin Hood, Jack and the Beanstalk. There's the big bad wolf. There's the witch from the Wizard of Oz. Goodness gracious. Meanwhile, Zach was shouting, "We have to finish the story so the characters will go back in the book." The storybook characters didn't want to go back, so a tug of war began. Uh-oh. Miss Smith appeared in the doorway. With one look, she let everybody know she meant business. Even the dragon was suddenly silent. She's giving her best teacher look right there. Zach handed the book back to Miss Smith. She ruffled through the pages, adjusted her glasses, and started to read. The class sat spellbound as she finished each story in turn. With a swirl and a whoosh, one character after another disappeared into the book until the classroom was quiet and tidy again. Principal Rittenrotten and a team of firefighters skidded to a halt at the door just as Miss Smith closed her book. "May I help you, Principal Rittenrotten?" asked Miss Smith, but the principal couldn't seem to answer. He just stared at the quiet class with his mouth wide open. Miss Smith flashed a secret smile with her class. Zach smiled right back. Who would have ever guessed that reading could be so much fun? The end. Looks like we missed one little bear back here, didn't we? So that was Miss Smith's incredible storybook by Michael Garland. I like this book because when I read a book, maybe it doesn't literally happen where stuff jumps out of the book like it does in Mrs. Smith's magic book, but in my head is filled with beautiful pictures like these and beautiful characters, and I can picture them in my mind, and it's just kind of like they jump out of the book into my imagination. And that's one of the reasons why I love reading, and I love reading to kids. So I hope you enjoyed Miss Smith's incredible storybook by Michael Garland. Have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow. Always keep reading.